Is there anything you can add to non-permanent inks to make them permanent? If so, does it affect the ink in any other way? Yes, so there are essentially they're permanent dyes that you can use. So there's no like one single magical thing that you can drop into your ink to all of a sudden it becomes permanent. It's a matter of mixing dyes together. Even when they make permanent inks, and I've learned a little bit, I don't know a lot about ink chemistry because it's pretty complex and it's very secretive as far as the people that actually make the inks. But I've talked with Nathan Tardif and Noodlers and stuff quite a bit about some of this stuff, and I know when he is making different inks, and he has some where it's like, for example, Black Swan and Australian Roses. Okay, so very popular fountain pen ink color from Noodlers. So it's a burgundy with a deep black. It's mostly bulletproof. Really, it's the black component of it that is bulletproof. And then the burgundy color will kind of dissipate if you try to wash it away. So what that is a mixture of dyes with different reds and stuff like that will make the burgundy color, and the black will make the black color. And then the black is really what stays. So ultimately, what I'm driving at here is if you want to take an ink and make it permanent, really the way to do that is to mix it with a permanent ink. Now, of course, it depends on how you're mixing. We're getting to ink mixing, and that's a bit of its own experimentation anyway. But I know specifically with Noodlers, they've said like if you're mixing any type of like, normal fountain pen ink, not Russian UK or a highlighter ink or something like a Bay State or something like that, those you want to try and keep within their own kind of series. So like the Warden's ink, you want to mix them with each other. The Bay States, you want to mix them with each other. But if you have a normal ink like Noodler's Red or something like that, and you want to mix it with Noodler's Black, you're going to get a dark kind of black red. Well, then the black component of the ink is going to be permanent. So it's not that you're going to turn the red into a red permanent ink, but you're going to get a permanent ink in the end. So maybe you could get at something with a mixture of permanents and stuff like that, and you could get into some fun experimentations if you wanted to try to match some of your other colors with a permanent one. But generally speaking, there's usually a pretty decent number of permanent inks that are available, but you can't get like super hyper specific as to the hue of ink you're going for, because there's just way more non-permanent inks than permanent ones out there. So you're gonna have to mix it with something. Whenever you're ink mixing like that, though, I should have a caveat that, especially if you're mixing across brands, you're getting into experimentation. There's a lot of different chemicals that are getting involved there, and you always want to mix it in small quantities in case you don't like it, or in case it does some crazy reaction, turns into gel or foams up or something weird like that. So mix it aside, set it aside for several hours, and then kind of test it out and see if it's kind of normal and still acts like regular ink, and then put it into a pen that is kind of an experimental pen you have. Don't take your brand new London Fog, fill it with your latest ink experiment, and find out, oh, it actually gels up in the pen and now my pen is ruined. So you don't want to do that. So experiment with some stuff that you don't mind being experimental with. And then I did want to talk about one ink specifically that is Noodler's Blue Ghost. So it's an invisible ink. So if you're not trying to necessarily turn your ink into a permanent ink, but you want some kind of permanent forge resistance quality to it for the sake of like signing a check or some important document, you can actually mix a little Blue Ghost in with whatever normal ink that you're using. Again, disclaimer, you got to experiment first. It will make it so that it will be bulletproof and traceable. Even if the regular color washes away, you'll still be able to have that Blue Ghost that's left behind, and you can especially see it under UV light. So that's kind of a cool little thing you can do. So if you want to be all sneaky, somebody thought they were going to be able to wash away your check information. Well, guess what? There's some permanent ink on there. So kind of a fun little thing. And then there's some resources out there. The Fountain Pen Network is a decent resource. They have some ink mixing threads on there that you could go check out. I'm sure there's some stuff in there. I didn't look specifically, I'm sorry I ran out of time, but I didn't look specifically about threads about, permanent ink mixing, but I know there's some stuff on there that you could go check out.